Shifting gears to the WNBA here, because the collective bargaining agreement between the W and its Players Association, it is set to expire this week on January the 9th. Now, Napheesa Collier, she spoke on the current situation from her team's Unrivaled game last night. Take a listen.
Napheesa Collier didn't just criticize the WNBA, she detonated it from the inside. As vice president of the WNBA Players Union, she publicly declared the league financially broken while simultaneously co-founding a rival basketball league designed to replace it.
I think you've just heard a lot of chatter about, what we're asking for is not sustainable for the business. And being on this side with Unrivaled, I know what it takes to run a sustainable business. So I think if they can't find a model that makes that happen, they need to put people in place who can, because we've proven that it is possible. There is a way, and we're thriving in that. And so I do think a deal is going to get done, but we're standing firm in what we believe in. We're not going to back down, and we can't take less. The sport has just grown too much. It would be a disservice to the people who came before us, to the work that we put in, to take less than what we're owed.
Yes, really. She's negotiating on behalf of WNBA players while actively recruiting them to her own startup league. If that doesn't scream conflict of interest, nothing does. So let's ask the obvious question. Can someone negotiate in good faith for a league while building its replacement? Because what Collier has done isn't bold leadership, it's professional malpractice. A conflict so obvious, it's insulting.
Hear what Napheesa is saying, absolutely, and the reality is the deadline is just a couple of days away. So she's saying that she sees a deal getting done, but also that they are not going to take less. Where do things stand now with those negotiations?
Yeah, Malika, both sides are still very far apart in these negotiations. Rev sharing is still at the centerpiece of these conversations, as they have been for the past couple months. What would a revenue share system look like? What would be considered revenue, and how would you account for expenses? Those are all things that are being discussed right now. Now, last week, Malika, multiple sources familiar with these negotiations told ESPN that the WNBA is projecting that a proposal by the Players Association that has 30% gross revenue and a salary cap around $10.5 million would result in $700 million in losses for the W. That is a very big number.
Collier's job as Union VP is simple. Fight for players within the WNBA. Instead, she co-founded Unrivaled, a competing league, while sitting across the table from the WNBA in CBA negotiations. That's like being the head chef at McDonald's while opening a burger joint across the street, then telling corporate their food is trash and their business model is broken. The audacity would be impressive if it weren't so reckless. Scorched earth negotiations. This wasn't some quiet side project. During negotiations, Collier openly declared the WNBA's financial model unsustainable and suggested the league needed people in place to plan for that failure.
Well, the co-founders of Unrivaled, Stewart and Collier, are, of course, VPs on the committee. The very committee that voted to authorize a strike against WNBA and NBA owners over the CBA. The very committee that authorized the proposal that would lose the WNBA $700 million. The very committee that is turning down salary increases of about 9 times the amount of money you're making right now.
Read that again. The VP of the Players Union publicly questioned the league's survival while negotiating with it. That's not leverage. That's sabotage. And then she doubled down, pointing to Unrivaled as proof that basketball can be run sustainably. Thriving on investor money? Let's be clear, ain't not. Unrivaled is not profitable. It's funded by private investors. That's not revenue. That's venture capital life support. Claiming sustainability because investors are cutting checks is like saying you're rich because your credit card hasn't been declined yet. One fan nailed it perfectly. They think getting investors means making money. No, it means someone believes you might make money someday.
Ankle surgery or whatever it was. I don't get it. This is in January. You got hurt. Makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. That, in my opinion, that shows a little bit of lack of interest in your own business, I guess. Especially in light of the fact that Unrivaled doesn't have any players.
Exactly. Reportedly, TNT is taking massive losses on Unrivaled. When that money dries up, so does the league. Even she doesn't believe in it. Here's the part nobody can explain away. Collier had surgery during Unrivaled season and missed games in her own league. Not during the WNBA offseason. During Unrivaled. If the co-founder doesn't treat her league as must-play priority, why should anyone else? Actions speak louder than press releases. Scale matters and Unrivaled doesn't have it. Unrivaled is 3-on-3, small rosters, SDH, one city, one gym, one tiny arena. Meanwhile, when Caitlin Clark plays in the WNBA, they're selling out NBA arenas with 15,000, 20,000 fans. That's not a comparison. That's a mismatch. Calling Unrivaled a blueprint for the WNBA is like telling Costco to learn efficiency from a lemonade stand. 2 seasons is not proven.
You have the union saying, no, our proposed model would still result in the W being a profitable business. So just on that alone, we can see how far apart these two sides are. And now as that January 9th deadline comes on Friday, there are a couple different things that we could see happen. One, a deal get done, as Napheesa Collier said she's confident can happen. I'm being told that is less likely. So if that's not going to happen, we can see another extension be agreed upon, as it has happened a couple other times during these negotiations. The current agreement could just run out, but they could continue to negotiate in good faith. And
Unrivaled is barely in its 2nd season. You cannot declare a business sustainable after a year and a half of investor funding. As one fan put it, please come back when Unrivaled lasts 3 decades. The WNBA has survived lockouts, losses, and growing pains and is now finally gaining momentum. Unrivaled hasn't even faced adversity yet. Caitlin Clark makes this worse. Here's the real tragedy. While Collier is calling the WNBA unsustainable, Caitlin Clark is revitalizing it. She's driving ticket sales, TV ratings, cultural relevance, and her own union leadership is publicly undermining the league she's building. How does that protect Clark's future? How does that help rising stars? It doesn't. It helps one person, Napheesa Collier. You can't serve 2 masters. This is the core issue. You cannot negotiate for a league, trash its business model and process in 2017, poach its players, and promote a competing startup that not it, all at the same time. That's not advocacy. That's self-interest. It poisons negotiations, destroys trust, and leaves players caught in the middle. The irony? The WNBA could wipe Unrivaled off the map if it wanted to. NBA backing, multi-city infrastructure, broadcast deals, growing fan base. Collier is playing with matches in a gasoline factory. There are valid conversations to be had about WNBA pay and conditions, but Collier ruined them. By mixing union power with personal business ambition, she turned player advocacy into a credibility crisis. She tried to play both sides and ended up serving neither. The WNBA is growing. Unrivaled is surviving. And this entire mess proves one thing: loyalty matters more than leverage. If you think union leaders should represent players, not sabotage the league they depend on, like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts below. Because this drama isn't over.